Well, hello, and thanks for watching another episode of News of the Pews, where you can count on unapologetic 2A advocacy. Gun rights are human rights. All those stuffy old rich NRA life members are gonna need another belt of scotch to wash down their Metamucil, because their transferable collections are about to lose a lot of value. Yet another legal challenge to the NFA was just filed. Strictly speaking, Temple Gun Club versus Bondi doesn't challenge the whole NFA, but rather the 86 Hughes Amendment, which closed the registry, making it functionally impossible to register a new machine gun. And it's a pretty direct attack, arguing the federal government lacks the authority to functionally ban machine guns in the first place. It has been assigned to Judge Reed O'Connor, which is good news. It makes it a lot more likely to win in the first round, and it may win on appeal, but if it doesn't get stopped in the Fifth Circuit, I think this case gets shut down by the Supremes. Now, I'm not a lawyer because I don't even know what puppy meat tastes like, but here's why I think they'll rule the wrong way. This case is alleging that not even the Commerce Clause gives Congress authority to effectively ban machine guns. And I agree with that because, well, I believe the Commerce Clause is limited to, commerce between the several states. But SCOTUS has ruled they see no limit whatsoever to the Commerce Clause. Justice Thomas opened his dissent in Gonzalez versus Raich with these words: respondents Diane Monson and Angel Raich use marijuana that has never been bought or sold, that has never crossed state lines, and that has no demonstrable effect on the national market for marijuana. If Congress can regulate this under the Commerce Clause, then it can regulate virtually anything, and the federal government is no longer one of limited and enumerated powers. Based Thomas as always. So for the Supreme Court to rule in favor of gun rights here, they would be in conflict with their earlier rulings, and I don't think they're gonna give that up. But hey, it would be impossible for us to produce quality 2A propaganda without you. That's right, I don't have any sponsors, so I literally couldn't make this content without your support. So if you are in a comfortable place in life, please consider supporting this channel by purchasing one of these radical t-shirts for just 15 bucks or donating at the links down there in the doobly-doo. Patreon supporters get to see scripts and videos early, as well as private Discord access. If you're not in a comfortable place though, remember, you don't owe anyone else a thing. Please enjoy this 2A propaganda at the price of free $99 and continue to pray for us. It ain't too often that politicritters get up to something worthwhile, but right here on Arrakis, Wendy Rogers introduced SB 1424, which would require age-appropriate gun safety training in K-12 schools. Naturally, the control freak Karens are going apeshit, claiming this is just an indoctrination or whatnot, when in reality it's, well, the same thing Eddie Eagle teaches, which is simply, if you find a gun, stop, don't touch, run away, tell an adult. The bill explicitly prohibits any moral or political discussion for or against firearms. It's not a long bill, technically 3 pages, but it's really only 1. And if the Karens bothered to read it, all their concerns would have been addressed. The one criticism that sounds legit at first glance is that the bill doesn't appropriate funding, but well, it also doesn't really require any expenditure. It requires about an hour of instruction once a year that can be completed by video or incorporated into an existing health and safety curriculum. The Arizona legislature will also be considering HB 2076, which would allow schools to authorize employees to carry. So please call 602-926-5998 right now and tell them to support SB 1424 and HB 2076. And if you live in Arizona, the legislature's website has a cool feature that allows you to log your support or opposition to each bill right there on the page. So that didn't take long. I recently told you about how Washington, D.C.'s standard capacity magazine ban was struck down, and it's already being cited in court. Kind of. Like I said, the ruling only applies in D.C., but lawyers in a case filed against the Illinoisans' assault weapon ban filed a brief with the 7th Circuit pointing to the D.C. ruling. Naturally, the Illinois Attorney General, Kwame Raoul, pointed out the D.C. ruling isn't binding in the 7th Circuit, which is obviously true, but just because it isn't binding doesn't mean we can't cite the same rationale and other courts' findings can be persuasive. Rest assured, I will keep you updated on Harrell versus Raoul, and I'll let you know if Jabba the Prick eats poor Kwame. The Second Amendment Foundation is taking on the Pennsylvania State Police's weird policy that forces FFL holders to forfeit their Fourth Amendment rights even if they operate a home FFL that's not even open to the public. The lawsuit argues that the legislature never gave the state police the authority and attacks the policy on Fourth Amendment grounds as well, pointing out that forcing dealers to submit to hours-long interviews amounts to a warrantless seizure of the person. And of course, they tackle this regulation on 2A grounds, citing Bruin. Schmidt versus Paris has been bouncing through the Pennsylvania court system since 2023, and it's in front of the Pennsylvania Supreme Court right now. When we get a resolution, rest assured I will let you know. Well folks, rounds complete on 2, but before I go, your moment of completion. I love you.